Tonight, hey, brother. Can you?
You are listening to the Doug Stanhope Podcast.
The potato peelings in the sink did not turn into vodka as I had hoped. I only start to need a drink after the liquor stores have closed. I heard you changed your name again, but don't you change your hair. It was the only thing I liked about you in the end. La la la.
All right, this is the Doug Stanhope podcast from Australia. With Nick's son. Ben Elwood.
Hello.
Brian, the filthy, uncut Scotsman.
Greetings.
Bingo doesn't have a mic, but if she has something to say, we'll hand her one. And our new promoter, the unlaid Alex. Lucky Alex. All right, you guys are going to have to carry this fucking thing because
Why is Alex unlaid?
I'm just giving him shit. He thought he had a girl at Canberra, and
didn't pan out for you?
It didn't work.
Why not? Did you fuck it up, or did she?
No, she was trying to get me to go to some club, so she went through him, and he got her number, and everyone, as she left, was applauding him and patting him on the back, going, "Oh, she's really into you," and he's like, "Ah." And then when she called again, are you bringing Stanhope to the club? I'm here with my boyfriend.
Well, maybe we should just auction them off at the end of the show or something like that.
Yeah, we'll try to work on that on the
four
back.
Girls in the crowd.
The back nine of this tour, we'll try to get Alex laid. Right now, I'm just trying to get through second show in Sydney. I left last night, and then we got hammered on the balcony at the hotel. I don't remember the end of it. Evidently, I was with Alex for an hour after everyone left, where in my mind when I woke up, I guess I went to bed early. No, I was up. I just don't remember those parts. So I woke up still drunk and then just decided to keep running. So I drank till about 12:30 and took another downer.
Are you okay, man?
Yes, he's a bit groggy.
That's Brian's spin on it. No, you're just groggy. He's trying to convince me. No, you're just groggy. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking drunk.
Is that a thing you do generally? Just walk straight off stage and get the fuck out of there rather than deal with the fans?
Well, in the States, we sell merch after the show, and that's that's how I pay Chaille, my tour manager, is off merch. So I have to go out. If I don't go out, you sell way less merch, and that fucks his money. Yeah. So I have to go out and glad hand people. But there's no way to fucking a 900-seater.
What if you got a stunt double or something like that? But not even someone who looked like you, just someone dressed the same way as you, but like a small Indian boy.
We were talking about doing that with someone.
Like Crunchy the Clown.
I'm Doug Stanhope.
Oh, we did that once with radio. Yeah, we were in San Francisco. We've probably talked about this on the podcast.
I think you've talked about this.
All right, forget it. Anyway, yeah. I sent some guy to... I had Good Morning San Francisco TV, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and we were doing coke at I did my show, and then Rogan was in town, so we went to Rogan's late show and hung out late with him after hours. And I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm getting up at 7 in the morning. So I found a local comic that was a newer guy, and I go, hey, go do this thing and just say you're me, because no one knew who I was at that time. I just did the Man Show, but it hadn't come out.
Yeah.
So I just sent him, and for some reason I dressed him up as me. That's back when I just wore a long overcoat and a knit, beanie. What do you call them? What's the?
I don't know.
A beanie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he represent
just a
you?
knit cap? But he was like 12 years younger than me and about 8 inches taller. But he went and he did Good Morning San Francisco television as me, and I have footage, or at least still photos. Red Band has footage, and I have it on TV with my feet sticking up at the end of the bed, and then TV with him on it, and the graphic underneath. It says, Doug Stanhope, host of The Man Show. And he did the interview just completely straight.
Did he impersonate you, or did he do it as himself?
No, he just did it like. How'd you get into comedy? Well, I just
He Johnny Rottened it.
Fell into it.
yeah. So that was.
Do you think he came across better as you than you would have as you?
He was a lot more sober.
He was a lot more
But
on
he actually
point.
came to the hotel to pick up the overcoat and the knit hat.
Wow.
Like that's gonna help. Like no one knows who I am anyway. Anyway, fucking you guys killed last night. Nick's son, I know from. However, how did I even meet you? I have no idea.
Was it the UK?
You were looking for an opening act, and then
Where? Where?
In America, and I was there to do the Seattle comedy competition, and just run away from my life. And then some guy I didn't know said, Stanhope's looking for you, and I thought it was just some weird joke. And then someone else was like, no, he's really looking for you. And so then some email was sent, and then I fucking hated the competition because it was just terrible. And I was just like,
Is that the first time I met you was when you took the bus?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in Florida. So I don't know,
Yeah, but you must have met before that if you were seeking him out. You
no,
guys
we
must
just
have
had
met
one
at an
phone
earlier
call. No,
period.
you saw my YouTube clip or something like that. And I don't know, because I've seen that YouTube
Well,
clip.
I wouldn't have asked you to take you. What you did is you ended up taking a bus from Seattle to Florida
Yeah, I was
for like 3 days or 4 days or
I was a
something.
big fan before that bus trip. The shit I saw, man, I was like, oh, this is a real America. I saw this.
Well, what is the difference between Seattle and Florida for someone who, I have no idea.
Oh my god,
It's longer than Sydney to Perth.
Oh, shit.
it was meant to be 5 day. It was meant to be a 3-day bus trip, and then the bus broke down, so I missed my connection in Chicago, and then I was just stranded in some Chicago bus joint for like.
Perth to Brisbane, I guess, would probably be as
Yeah.
far as you could go, and probably longer because
Yeah.
you're going to go down. Florida's a peninsula.
Yeah, pretty much.
What kind of environments do you travel through?
Oh fuck,
Every
man.
fucking one.
Like desert,
Man, I
city,
was sharing the
slum.
bus at some point with this weird juggalo.
Well, you didn't think you were going to have the bus to yourself, did you?
Well, it was promising for the
Doug
Montana
Stanhope's
trip.
support act. How could he not have the bus to himself?
Well, no, not really. But I mean, I wasn't expecting to watch.
How
some of the
much
shit
did it
which
cost to
unfolded
buy
there.
all the tickets on a Greyhound? That'd be quite
I was
cool.
like, you know what? I like buses. I get to see the country, meet lots of interesting, crazy people.
That's what you tell yourself when
Watch a
it's
guy
happening.
get blown under a blanket. That was good. While a juggalo guy poked them with his walking stick, which is a stick covered in dirty rags. Those are the memories I'll never forget.
Oh,
That's what I paid the money for.
And yeah, you missed a gig too.
I missed the gig. And then I was eating a burrito out the front of this fucking hotel place, really fragile, because I got given all these mushroom chocolates. So I was just like, I'll just eat these to help the bus ride go by. And I was just eating
Oh
these.
yeah, nothing speeds up time like mushrooms.
It was really good for the first, until I missed a connection, and I was just stranded in Atlanta fucking tripping, and they had like riot cops everywhere, and this guy came up to me with like fucking 3 fingers missing from his hand, just going, can I have $1? And I was like, oh, I'll give you $2. And he goes, no, I can get 2 cheeseburgers. And I was like, wow, what a country.
just
I I want to move here.
Just to fuck with Inman, you should do a show called Greyhound Diary. And we just pretend Inman's thing never existed.
Yeah, we did the culture room. I remember that.
The culture room.
Fort Lauderdale?
Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
I was
stunk.
still bus lagged.
Bus lagged.
I don't know what happened there.
And then you came to Bisbee.
Yeah.
I don't even remember you being there.
I remember picking him up.
But I remember picking you up
Yeah.
at the fucking we don't have Greyhound. Did you take a Greyhound from Florida to Arizona after that?
Probably.
Because
I think
that's
so, yeah. Yeah, no, I took I like to see the countryside. I know that sounds weird, but
oh my
But,
god.
So Bisbee, or we had to pick you up in Benson because the Greyhound doesn't go to Bisbee. So
That's
we
like 6,000 miles on a Greyhound.
Do you live in Bisbee also, Brian?
No, I was just happened to be
Oh,
visiting.
okay, right.
And so Benson doesn't have a Greyhound stop, so they just dumped him at the McDonald's.
The McDonald's is the Greyhound
Yes,
stop
yeah.
at Benson.
but there's
and
no
Benson's-
sign or anything. It's
no,
just
just that dinosaur.
And that's still 50 miles away from Bisbee. That's
Yeah.
as close as you can get to Bisbee on a bus as Benson.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we picked you up with all your shit. How long were you in Bisbee? Was there a party going on, or were you
No,
just...
that was just 5 days, and then Bingo gave me this huge bag of weed, and I smoked that and got really paranoid. I was like, oh my god, I'm at Stanhope's house. What the fuck is happening?
I
And
remember
I couldn't
asking
talk to you, so that I just go off to walk to the fucking the borderlands, and then I was just like walking around really high, watching pigs running around, and
Javelina, yeah.
and then it was a weird
did you
it's a
not
weird time in my life.
did you not do a gig in Tucson that week?
Yeah, I remember we did the John Dillinger Hotel.
Yeah, the Club Congress?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
That
was
great.
So it must have been December.
Yeah, it must be in December.
All right, that sounds right.
That makes sense. Lauderdale, November, December.
And Ben Elwood, I met
On memory lane.
It's
the desert party.
No. We met in 2005 when you came.
When I played here.
Your first tour around Australia, which didn't end up so well for you.
Yeah,
you seemed like a real miserable cunt the whole time. But I don't think the crowds knew what they were getting into when they came and saw you.
No, but that was hilarious. That was the funniest shit. Like, I'd seen people been offensive before, but I'd never seen someone walk like 2/3 of the crowd.
that was still
And people, I remember there was like this woman in the crowd, and she had a 15-year-old kid, and they're like literally front row. Father, mother, 15-year-old kid, and you're like, how old are you? And she's like, 15. He's like, got pussy yet? And the woman's face just blanched white, and she had this fucking frozen smile on her face, just too afraid to leave. And it's like, what about drugs? What drugs have you done? Sodomy. You should try sodomy. And this fucking woman was just like frozen in shock.
Who brings
just
a
like,
fucking 15-year-old kid to a comedy
at
show?
that time-
Who brings you as a headliner to a weekend?
But at that time, people were just turning up and going, one comedy, please, and
Yeah.
not really knowing what they were kind of getting
It's
themselves
pretty-
into at
yeah.
the comedy store. So they would just see whatever. Do you remember the Hens Night that you ruined?
No,
that
no,
was
help me
fucking
out.
Amazing. These like awful, obnoxious fucking hens barreled in, and they were wearing the tiaras.
Hen's party
and
is a bachelorette party for the listener who does not know the nomenclature of the...
the Australian lingo, yeah. So they were wearing sashes and tiaras and everything. And about 20 minutes into the show, you're like leaning over them. No one cares about your special day, you self-indulgent cunt. And I'm like, and this woman burst into tears. She's like, you ruined my night. You went, good, get the fuck out of here. And they totally ended up walking. It was fucking amazing. Amazing.
There was a night in Dallas where a similar thing happened. A bachelorette party came to my show at the Dallas Improv, and they wanted all the attention, so I gave them the attention, but in the wrong way. And she literally left crying, and she's out, and her friends are trying to console her in the lobby, and Bingo went out and tried to sell them merch. Do you want...
Great. How did that go? How did they react to you?
Take a mic.
She just started crying more.
And how did that make you feel?
I was laughing
Yeah,
so
great.
hard. No, it's like CDs, T-shirts, DVDs.
There was a recent bachelor party that was cool. Where was that?
Oh,
You did a
fuck.
gig someone. You actually said, I love this town. It's the only place I've ever been where the
remember.
bachelor party was cool.
Oh, that's right. That was where was that? They were front row, San Francisco.
Yes,
Yeah.
San
San
Francisco.
Yeah.
But they actually knew who they were coming to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you finding that that's happening more for you now, that people, for the most part, would know who they're seeing? Are you finding that there's not so much conflict with the crowd?
Yeah, well, once you step up the ticket price to a certain level, people aren't just wandering in.
Yeah.
It's not a cover charge anymore. It's a ticket price.
But is there part of you that misses?
A lot of
Yeah,
me misses
the
that. I
jousting?
fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love hurting people's feelings when they put no effort into their weekend entertainment, no due diligence to figure out what the fuck this is about. So I didn't know I met you when I was here in Sydney.
I did like a little open spot for like the open mic Tuesday thing, and then I remember when you came on, you were like, "Bring back the Ho Chi Minh Kid." I was like, "Wow, stand-up's a racist. This is great."
Yeah.
Did you hear Ben's little story about when Mark Maron played the same club, the Comedy Store?
Oh,
Jesus.
Go tell it.
He was just going through his divorce, so he was toxic.
How's he on the mic? I'm sorry.
So he was like in a really toxic place, and the MC that they had for the night was just a very jokey, blokey kind of comedian. Like, and he was doing this routine about, just before he'd bring Maron on, he did like 10, 15 minutes about how crazy are birds. And so he's doing this, like, how crazy are seagulls? I mean, as soon as they see a chip, one of them just gets on a walkie-talkie and like, rah, chips, like, rah, chips, and like and Maron's just on the back seething, like muttering to himself. And he finally gets brought on, and Maron gets on, and he's like, "Yeah, give it up for Lindsay and his birds." Dripping fucking hatred. And there was another bit about a crow, and the next time he got up, he's like, "Give it up for Lindsay and the classic crow bit."
But that's his opener. Just trash Lindsay for like 8 minutes.
It was so funny. Me and Nick were on a night that Maron was on, and we were out the back having complete nervous breakdowns. I was looking at this mole on my arm going like, "Oh my God, it's definitely cancer. And Nick's looking at his notes going, "It's all shit. And then Maron's got his head in his hands going, fuck her. And suddenly he looks up and clocks us, and he goes, "Hey, you guys remind me of me." I didn't know whether to be really pleased with myself or really insulted.
Well, I can't do the quote justice, but when we saw him backstage at the Comedy Store, whatever he said was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It
was not something about I'm being newly humble.
Yeah.
At least publicly, or something like that.
I have a new humility or
yes, that's it.
or,
Yeah, I'm practicing a new humility, at least
publicly, or at least outwardly.
Yeah.
But he said something funny, so there you go. Shout out to Mark Maron.
So Ben, at the time when you were in the Comedy Store, you were the bartender when you first.
Yeah, that was fucking great, man. Like I spent like a year and a half just as bar guy there, and so I got to meet a lot of amazing comics that I'd appreciated just as a comedy watcher.
Thanks,
and it was just nice getting. No, of course, no, seriously. I saw you on TV before we ever met, and I really liked your stuff. It's like that guy really likes Bill Hicks. I can tell. So I met a lot of a lot of comics that I really admired, but it was nice to get to know them as humans and not necessarily as an open micer that wanted advice or, "Hey, can you give me a poster quote?" or whatever. It was just, so it was great. Like, that's how I met you. I met Provenza, a lot of those guys.
Provenza played the store?
Yeah, it was just when the Aristocrats came. Aristocrats.
This is Sydney. We're in Sydney, Australia. I should have mentioned that. We're on the Australian tour. We're somewhere about dead in the middle, and dead is the right word today. But yeah, the Sydney Comedy Store I worked. I thought I kept saying 2002 or 3, but evidently it was early 05.
Yeah. It was a really golden time there. They had a guy managing the place that just loved comedy, and so they brought a whole lot of great people out.
And the bar staff were just the biggest.
Bar staff, yeah. We were all
assholes.
encouraged to be really kind of bawdy and rude to the customers. It was just great. It was such a great vibe, and it was like the real hub for hanging out.
Yeah, but then when they got driven into debt.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's changed hands and everything's different now. But in the past, they'd fly someone out for 2 weeks, they put them up, and also
I did 2 weeks. Yeah,
you were there for 2. And as a starting comic, you would do Tuesday open mic, and if you were good enough, you'd graduate to Wednesday new comics, and if you were good enough, you'd graduate to Thursday, Friday support. So you really felt a trajectory, and now it's a very different landscape in Australia now. It's like if you don't pop in those first 2 years, you're kind of dead in the water. So it's interesting.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot more comics.
Yeah, man.
There must be other, and there are other venues.
Yeah, but most of them now are sign-up nights. So, the scene's flooded with...
What does that mean?
You just put your name down on the night and you automatically get a spot.
Oh, I see.
So the whole scene is now just full of bucket listers. They're like, fucking Cheryl from accounting told me I was funny, so I'll give comedy a go. And so you've got fucking 500 comics. Around the time me and Nick started, there was a new comic once every month. And so it was an event to watch their first gig. Fresh meat getting carved up.
I place a lot of credibility in Cheryl from accounting.
She does know her stuff. But now it's like, God, there's like 10 or 12 new people a week. Yeah. And how long they last is irrespective. But still, it's a very different landscape.
Yeah, even Tucson, their open mic night in the one club that's only open on Friday, Saturday, and they do an open mic Thursday. I don't know if it's even weekly. I think it is. Yeah. But they'll have 35 or 40 open micers. Yeah.
It's crazy.
In a town that can only support a 2-night comedy club.
Yeah. But it's interesting now as well because there's no clear trajectory for seeing your own improvement. There's people that are like, I've got 8 minutes of stage time under my belt and I've got a Facebook fan page. I'm a comedian. And it's this weird kind of like, are you? Or you just kind of like, it's I don't know. In this country, it's a hobby at best, really, unless you're cracked into the kind of network television circuit. Like, there's no real money to be made.
It's either that or the cruise ships.
Yeah.
And the mining tours.
Yeah, I can imagine Nick's son on a cruise ship.
Is there an equivalent of a triple
Walk
run?
the room. I walked the plank.
What's a triple run?
I thought maybe in a triple run type.
What's a triple run?
David Tribble is a famous booker of really shitty Northwest, like Montana.
Oh, like regional weird gigs.
Red Lion Lounge at the fucking...
there's like weird little regional gigs around everywhere, but they're not like united.
There's no grandmaster that's built an empire of regional gigs. I always thought
there's the mining tours, which are meant to be legendarily fucking terrible.
I don't know why a comedian hasn't gone and just done what Tribble has ruined.
Well, one guy used to do that actually, but his name was Jimbo. He'd drive around in an oil-powered car, and he'd just go and do this gig. He got banned from this gig he was running in Sydney.
Like vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil. So he'd do the gig for the vegetable oil from the fryer and a couple $100, and then he'd call the next hotel down the road and have the hotel he was at just going, this goes really good. But he was amazing with the crowd, and he got banned from this gig in Sydney because he'd made a secretary blow her boss on stage.
He did a what?
He's a really charming guy. And also he was
what he did what?
He just, I don't know, somehow got this secretary in the crowd to blow her boss on stage at this gig. Jimbo's Big Night Out, it was called. The first time I met him, he got banned from this the store he was very filthy mouth on him.
He would bring his goat out on stage.
Yeah, he had his merchandise it was just a shirt which said "I fuck goats," and then he'd come with a companion shirt saying "I'm the goat."
And he'd have the goat next to him wearing the shirt.
Yeah,
he was selling merch.
and yeah, so
I love this guy.
I thought there was no hope for James Inman, but now
no, Jimbo was hilarious. The best thing I liked about it was the second time I met him, he was teaching kids how to spin plates for the Rainbow Circus. And this is like the previous night, I just seen him do all these jokes about how he had a Japanese girlfriend and it was a World Cup. So to support Japan, he'd like have her take a period on the bed sheets and hang it out the window, which he got banned for. And then I met him teaching kids how to spin plates. And then he pulled out of while I was talking to him, he just pulled his jar of sprouts out of his duffel bag and just started eating them. And I was like, "You grow your own food in your bag?" And he was like, "Yeah." Like, so what? I was really astounded. I didn't know you could grow food.
Why is that weird?
I don't know. I started growing sprouts after that. I'll tell you that much. Very nutritious.
All right, I want to get your Death Valley story cranked up from Ben Elwood here.
Okay.
Then I want to hear about some of your fucking horror stories of shows gone wrong because I don't know about you, but I know Nick's son. Do you? Good. You want to fuck this?
Maybe I'll
fuck
tell
the
that
Death.
first. Maybe I should
yeah,
tell that
fuck the
first.
Death
Fuck
Valley
the Death Valley
story.
If it's organically comes up later, let's tell it.
No. If you have fucking horror death show stories.
Oh man, like I always I'm really good at fucking up anything that's a high pressure gig. Like I'm great in front of 10 people and nothing, and there's no stakes at all. But as soon as there's stakes, I just fuck it up, my stupid head. And in 2011, me and a couple of Sydney people decided we were all moving to London to try and make it big. And we'd start with a run in Edinburgh, and me and my buddy did this show in Edinburgh. And
What year?
2011.
Oh, right. So, okay.
Yeah.
You and your buddy, you both went to Edinburgh. You weren't doing a double act.
There was like 5. Yeah, no, we did a split bill. We did a split show in Edinburgh at the Free.
But you weren't. It wasn't. Yeah.
It wasn't like a double act.
Ben and Jerry.
No, no. It was just like a half an hour each of comedy. And so we went to Edinburgh Free Fringe, and all of us with those giant fucking. You live your mythology before it's even happened. Like you're basing your life story on all these autobiographies and biography channel docos you've ever seen. Like, it's got to be that way. That's the direction. Instead of just traveling your own. I really respect that guy that travels his own path, so that's what I'll copy. So
you go out on stage. You go out on stage with your goat, and
so we're doing the show, and on one of the last days, the manager of the. What was that? Comedy cafe? Comedy cafe?
Yeah.
A comedy cafe.
Is that Noel somebody?
Yeah.
It wasn't Noel, but it was his business partner.
Right.
And they run the comedy cafe in London, and they also manage comics and And it was like the closest thing to a break that had introduced itself in that whole month. And at the end of the show, they're coming up to us going, "Oh, you're both fucking great. We're going to get you in the club, All you'll need to do is this. All you need to do is this one set that I can show Noel and the other business partners to show him how great you are, and we'll fucking pick you up and we'll make it happen, And so, of course, we've been in fucking the UK for like 25 days, and it's already like, I knew it would be this easy. I'm a genius. And we set up the gig, and I get to the gig, and it's like some night with like 12 comics on. And all of them are coming up to me going, "Oh, you're the Australian comic that's been on television." Like I did a 5-minute spot on a fucking cable stand-up comedy show 9 years ago, and that's the only bit of television coverage I've ever had. Like I've still got hair and hope in my eyes in the video, and so like, and the MC's building, coming up after the break, this Australian guy, this headliner from fucking Australia that's been on television, and I start head fucking myself so fucking badly, and when I got there, this business part that I hadn't met. He's like hugging me, going, "I've heard all about you. This is going to be great." So I get on stage and I just fucking tank like I catch the fear so horrendously. And it's that, that death where it's not just like they're tittering. It's that real kind of like cellular death. Like every part of you just wants to fucking.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had that.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Just that thing where you retroactively question every decision that ever led to this moment. So I die terribly, and I get off stage, and this business partner, the guy that's going to make my dreams come true, comes up to me and like slaps me on the back, and he's like, "Thanks for fucking up my night." Just joking, and then his face like blanches and goes like Bronson kind of serious, and like walks away, and then makes a point of gathering the other 12 people that were on that night and buying each one of them a shot and doing the shot in front of me.
And not you?
Not me. I didn't get a shot.
What a cunt!
So at the end of it, I just go up to him like,
why did you die? Did you make poor choices with the material?
I questioned,
or you just couldn't sell it?
My problem is when I'm doing stand-up, unless I call the reality of what I'm feeling in that moment, I will suck. Like if I'm feeling really anxious and I get up there and try and be confident, I'll just fuck it up. Because a lot of the time it's not.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly. That's why I hate recording like a special, because if I can't address an elephant in the room, or like the fact that there's fucking cameras everywhere, or doing TV where they have the fluffer come out and, "Hey everybody, when the guy comes out, you're gonna go batshit."
You feel like a fraud not calling it.
Exactly. I have to fucking address everything that's in my head, and if I can't, I suck. Then I'm just reading off. I'm reading off a teleprompter in my head.
Absolutely. And there's no authenticity behind the words you're saying. It's just bleh, bleh. And a lot of the time, like what I do, but the stuff I do isn't necessarily like joke. A lot of it's just funnily worded ideas or points of view, and it needs to have that delivery behind it to get it across.
The reality behind it.
Yeah, you have to. They have to think that you're believing what you're saying.
Most of my shit, I know exactly what I'm going to say, but I look like everything. I start out addressing everything that I is in my head or about the room or about the day or about what's in the news, even if I don't have jokes, and that will segue me into making the old shit that I pre-planned stuff sound conversational, because I start this as a conversation, and that way it makes the other shit feel real to me.
And the audience the audience love that as well. They know in that moment that it's not a synthesized experience. It's real right now. It's happening right now. That guy's talking about what he's feeling right now, so it's not replicated night for night. And there's something, I don't know, there's a connection that you develop with the crowd when you do that that's so much more...
That's why I could never...
So much greater than just...
The Letterman people have actually approached us, and I couldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it? You wouldn't do it?
I couldn't do it.
That's part of the problem.
You should do it.
Should do it. Even if you should just die as terribly as possible.
They didn't say...
They'll go down in
They didn't
history.
say, hey, we have September 18th open.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'd still have to, audition for them and give them... And then they fuck with your material and tell you how to hone it. And I'm not going to do that.
You could do it, man. You hosted the fucking Man Show. You know
show me fucking 4 minutes in my set that you could cut down.
They've been to see multiple shows, and it's all very friendly. And afterwards, they just go, "Nope, not even 4 minutes." No. And they're sitting there waiting.
You could figure out a way to do it.
I didn't know. I didn't know they've ever been in a show. I just know they've contacted.
Oh no, they've been.
You probably you don't tell me for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brian knows what's going to fuck with my head.
Yeah,
you totally could.
Just freak out and assault Letterman or something. Oh, dude, what's that guy from Back to the Future? What did he do? You know how Ninja kicks the guy and he's all dressed up all weird?
Oh, Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover, yeah. You should pull a Crispin Glover.
But here's my question, which is addressing Ben's issue, problem, whatever. I don't know if you have addressed it, but you do that thing of, hey, here's some fake enthusiasm. Like, how do you deal with when you do have to
regurgitate material?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually really freaking out last night because I knew that if I got up there and just went crank, 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 joke, 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 it'd be awful.
You got some shit going on in your life that.
Yeah, and so I had to call, I'd heard all this, I've been going through a fucking painful, horrible breakup that's just dragging out. And that's where my mind is all the time now, just this fucking anxiety and nerves and blah, blah, blah.
But that's what you like all the time.
I know that's what I'm like. Well, if it's not that, it'll be
How much of your head is going, all right, this is a really fucked up breakup, like she's in a mental institution right now.
Yeah.
How much of your head goes, this is going to be really good material?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I had to call the reality of what was happening in my head at that moment. And it was only one line.
Eat the mic.
It wasn't even that.
Eat the mic.
It wasn't even that. Oh, sorry.
Sometimes it drops down to your dick.
I'm really stoned. Opening with that. I think what you said before, it gives you the license to then go into the pre-planned stuff with. You've already developed a kind of, more casual relationship with the audience, so it's more kind of. It's more
they
real.
know who they're.
Yeah.
To an extent,
but
they
it's
know
terrifying. Me. It's nearly 10 years, and I'm only just in the last probably year getting okay with that way of doing it. Getting up and going, I don't actually know what the fuck I'm going to do. I have a vague idea, but I don't really know. And it's like...
It's gigging. You can't gig much in Australia.
Yeah, you can't get used to it.
You can't get regular... There's not enough gigs here. So you're constantly, getting match fit again. They'll need to just go slack again.
Which is why Australians leave Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but then you have to start from scratch wherever you go.
Yeah,
which is fucking.
Now I've realized that's just.
Consequently, that's why you felt the pressure when you had the comedy cafe guy.
No, totally.
So
this thing of I can bypass doing that whole fucking London mic circuit for 5 years.
What's the fate here? Is cruise ship guy.
I don't know. I guess
fake
you just got
glasses in case you die.
You've got the fucking passion for it.
It's not even passion; it's lack of options.
Well, you played Singapore. How do you get into that shit?
Oh, I just emailed a guy.
Because I know Rhodes and even Fulton used to. He was the first guy I knew that did all these Hong Kong and Thailand and
I'll put a word in for you.
Does this guy?
No, I don't want to do it.
It's hilarious though. You got to play to full Malaysian crowds, man. It's hilarious. Malaysia's crazy off the hook. It's a weird place.
I've never heard Malaysia described as off the hook.
You don't think so?
No.
I just love a place where you can bribe cops, and I didn't wear a seatbelt. I felt alive.
You didn't get arrested.
There's a whole circuit of,
Yeah.
you know.
And there's gigs in India
And I-
now
you
and
know,
China and shit. I'm gonna try.
When
and
we
get
have
some gigs in
dealings with
India.
them,
I don't want to do them.
I know.
I'm just like, how do you get into that? Like, who calls you? Fucking someone. I think it was Steve Hughes or someone had just come back from
It was Tom Rhodes.
like Serbia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we were in the UK, it wasn't Tom Rhodes. It
No,
was
you're
someone that in the UK had done this like Serbian.
These people do contact us, and but it's a case of we're trying to fix it and fill it. We're not flying out to Serbia for one gig. You know.
What if you? Wouldn't it be great if you just had a huge fan base in Serbia? Like,
Actually, funny enough, you do. Doug Stanhope does have a big fan base in Serbia.
really?
So couldn't you organise like a
Unfortunately-
multi-country
Yeah,
European
unfortunately,
tour?
ticket prices in Serbia. You know.
Yeah, it might be a little cost prohibitive.
Yeah. They okay.
Doug, do you get anxious before gigs still?
Overseas, I do. Not now.
Like, there's not any part of you before you go on stage that's like, oh, God, fuck.
Oh.
It depends on the. It would have to be a weird circumstance, but generally on the road, no. Over the UK, every fucking show, I'm like terrified. Like I feel holes developing in my stomach from acid because they're just hateful fucking people.
Yeah.
And
I
I
hate it
bring
there.
my audience are haters.
Yeah.
So
Really?
and they hate each other. And in the UK, they just be just as happy to watch you fail miserably and turn on you mid-set,
Yeah.
even being your most. I'm your biggest fan, but yeah, fuck you. You're a cunt. I didn't like you. Fucking cunt.
Me and Nick saw you in Leicester Square in 11 or 12, and I knew the audience were cunts when they didn't go for the Matoid. The Matoid opened for you, and they sat there in like dead silence. They just didn't get it. They didn't connect. And me and Nick are in the middle just howling. I couldn't even imagine how you couldn't tap into it. But it was still a great
There's
gig.
subtle
Like,
differences. We like shit in England and stuff in America and stuff like that.
Okay, Nick. Sorry, yeah, Nick. Your worst gig.
My worst gig.
Not your worst,
Your
but
worst.
give me a bad
Story, a good
I got
story
one.
gig.
Doesn't have to be a superlative, but
I did a casino in Perth. It was one of my first headlining spots. So I
Is
was
that the
fucking
Skylight or
nervous.
something?
And it was one. There was a huge hole in the middle of the fucking room, which then led down to the poker machine. So you're kind of shouting over the top of poker machines going off, and then just
my first
just
gig.
dying terribly. I was just too abrasive and too dirty and like not confident. I had a Red Bull as well, so I was just like kind of nervy. And then this guy in the front row just went, "Tell us about Nepal." And I was like, "What? How do you know I'm from my parents?" And he's like, "Oh, you know, we're Dawn and Henry, and these were the people who helped my parents illegally immigrate to Australia." And then I just realized that Dawn, the old woman, she's like 60, was just looking at me like this face like, we fucking help these people legally immigrate for this thing here? Like, what is this?
Wait, did you know that they were there, or
No, it was
all
only
of a
when he
sudden
said.
you
Only when he
realized-
said it was like, "What tell us about Nepal?" And I was like, "Oh, Dawn and Henry." I was like, "Oh shit, these are the people who fucking helped my. They hid my parents in their like basement for a while, let them live there, like put them up and shit for several months, helped them get like a fucking under the table work and shit, and then they were just watching the fucking offspring of their charitable gesture just shit."
You
and
should
die
have been a
hard.
Sherpa.
Pretty much. And then the best thing was like, then I just hid backstage after the gig. I was like, "Fuck!" And they were like waiting around. And I was like, "I don't want to talk to you guys. I'm sorry, it's nothing personal."
Oh, that's
And then,
the fucking
and then I
worst.
finally like snuck out the back, and then they just happened to get in the same lift as me, and no one said anything. It was just this quietness, this fucking tension, and then we get to
you've
the.
been hiding.
Yeah, no, they waited. They were like wanted to. I don't know whether they wanted to scold me or what. We got out and we're like walking, and I was just like, "This is too weird." So I jumped behind a pylon, and then Henry turns around, and just goes, "Hey, man!" And then he obviously can't see anything because just 1 minute I'm walking behind, the next minute I'm just
Gone.
behind a pylon, and I didn't come out. I just waited until he got into a car.
That's fantastic.
Bad
Like,
one.
that you know, when people are trying to be friendly to you after a shitty gig, I'd actually
Call the
prefer the
reality of
guy.
it. Just say that was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. Like, what else is there?
Which comedians are good at doing. Comedians. I think
If
That's
you
when
know
you've
each
got
other well enough.
That's when you know you've got a real friend in comedy, where you can
Right.
walk off stage and like,
you fucking ate a donut up there. You
call it
cut
what it is. It was fucking terrible.
I know. I said that about doing the Louis episode as far as because I suck at acting and Hollywood people make it worse. That was great. We're gonna try it again. Try it this way. And Louis, if you sucked, he'd just go, you fucked that whole thing up. Do it this way. And you go, I respond well to that. That whole, the Hollywood.
Yeah. So he was instructing you.
Yeah,
Great.
he directs,
That's
he does
fantastic.
everything. And so that's why it was a whole lot easier because he'd just go, all right, that's fucking, don't even do that. That fucking sucks. You go, okay, I'll do it. That's directing.
But it's
don't
hard
go,
not
you know what? I like what you're doing, but what we're going to try is...
I love the whole thing where you're standing next to another comic and one of you's done well, and someone comes up and says, "Oh, you did really well," and then they see that guy like, "Oh,
nice
you
work.
were good too."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, you."
But it's no
I was gonna make merch when I was a fucking middle act that said the other guy was funny too with my picture on it. I thought that was a great merch idea. Anyone, feel free to steal that, listening audience.
You want to hear about my worst ever gig?
Oh, that's right. I forget. Brian Hennigan was a fledgling.
My worst ever gig was actually the fucking Sacramento. What's the area downtown Sacramento?
Oh,
it's
it's
the
not the Laugh Factory.
It's the punchline. No, not the
no.
Anyway, it's downtown.
It's the
Sacramento.
one that isn't the punchline.
Yeah. So David Crow took me under his wing again and said, "I'm going to put you on as the feature. I'm there for the entire weekend." And so I stayed with him in his hotel room, and I fucking learned the lines that I'd been learning for a long time. And it's exactly like you're talking about, Ben. I was so fucking tense, and it was also the most courageous gig I ever did because it was the weekend, right? So here's an interesting side. So I went on first. Oh, sorry, the first show on the Friday, and I died so miserably. I could not believe what I felt. I'd never felt that before.
Yeah.
This complete 20 minutes of fucking silence, not even a titter, just silence. And it's worse when you have an accent like I'd have, because they really want to like you. Because the first thing they hear, you sound kind of cute and cuddly and foreign and Scottish, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to be fun." And then you betray them by not being. And so I was white-faced, and this is where there's a historical reference I like to use, which is people. If you've ever seen the film A Bridge Too Far, and there's that fantastic scene where the platoon, I think led by Robert Redford, are told they have to go across the river, even though the fog that was meant to be there has lifted, and they know they're all going to die. Well, that's not actually representative of what happened. What happened in real life was it happened twice. So although they were brave, there's the first team that went across and they all got massacred, and the second team were told, "Now you have to go," and they'd just seen those guys all get killed. So that's how I felt on the second show, because I knew that nothing had changed between the first. I knew that I had no other delivery to give. So
That's a great epitaph.
I
Jesus.
walked out like the condemned man, and I got shot.
No one that's never had that experience can even understand like what it does to your insides. Just that when you realize there's 100, 200 eyes on you, and it's just.
And then I'm hanging around afterwards, like you're talking about with David Crow, who's the headliner. The place is on fire with laughter, and then I'm hanging around him like a bad smell.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Well, I forget a good advice. If you ever die really terribly, instead of like slinking away, you like stand out the front and you just make eye contact with everyone as they walk out. I've tried it. They actually feel worse than you do, and you realize, oh, you feel worse for me than I do for me.
I almost don't want to tell this story
Character building. because
the guy that I'm talking about is actually coming to the Adelaide and Melbourne shows, and I'll tell it just in case we don't get a podcast with him, because is it Mikey 182? I brought him up.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is early on when I just started to get an internet presence. So it was probably like 99, 2000 or so. And this guy's like, I'm coming to Australia. I just started having a website and stuff. And so I'd get emails from people who heard me on, internet bullshit. And he came to LA if you're doing a show, and I had a Monday night spot at the Comedy Store, just a random drop in open mic-y thing, and it was shut down because there was no audience, so they just closed. So I was there, and I told this guy I'll be there. So then we just wait out in front of a closed original room. And he shows up, and I'm like, sorry, there's no show, but thanks for coming all the way from Australia, if I didn't mention that. He's from Australia, and he came all the way to the States, or he was going anyway. It's not like he came for an open mic
Give yourself
night.
too much credit.
So, but we go, fuck it, hey, let's just go to Vegas. I think it was Becker. I'll have to figure out who I was with when I talked to him. But we drove to Vegas and spent a couple days in Vegas getting fucked up. And then I had a show in San Diego that was booked. And it was this, I don't know if it was free or like $3 or $5, but it was a weekly show that was, 1,400 people would fill this fucking place every week.
Wow.
Yeah, 4th and B. Judy Brown Marmel used to book the thing and put me in there, and I had to follow Bobby Lee, who fucking crushed. And I'm headlining, and I went out, and no one knows me, and I just ate shit, and then I just made it worse. And the more they didn't like me, and if I bring back Bobby Lee, and fuck you, and then of course I walked at least 80% of the audience. Like, they'd come up to the stage from the very far back. There's a room this size. It would hold 1,200, whatever it was. And, like, people would walk all the way to the front of the stage and go, fuck you, before they walked out. And it was just tragic. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm going to go till all of you are gone.
That's what you did it. Remember, late in live. And we keep going.
Yeah, but it was like that. But that was the only show that Mikey 182 from Adelaide saw me do. Was one of the worst shows I've ever been involved in, ever. Because he heard a clip on the internet and thought I was funny, and he's like, "Oh," and you go, "Oh, geez, I don't know how to." You want to do all the explanations. It's not usually like this.
I've got recordings of good gigs.
Maybe he
You want to
enjoyed
sit in my room and listen to it?
I'll do a private set.
That sounds like Becker.
Has anyone ever jumped on the stage and threatened you physically?
No. Well,
Really?
there was the time in Edinburgh. I tell that story a lot. So
Scott Capurro.
yeah, I was on stage.
They thought they were assaulting him. But it
Oh,
wasn't.
okay. But no one's ever like...
People thought you were Scott Capurro.
No, I that exact same bit I did last night about the chick here who died of ecstasy.
Yeah.
I was talking about ecstasy, and some girl yelled out. I was hosting a late night dirty show.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just a host, and some girl yells, "That's not funny. My sister died from ecstasy," and I just fucking ripped into her. Your sister didn't die from ecstasy. She died. Ecstasy doesn't kill people. Your sister died because she's a fucking idiot and didn't drink enough water. Don't blame a good drug on a fucking stupid sister. Just like she left very upset and crying and went upstairs. And I'm hosting, which I'm a great host. Yeah. Hey, get the fuck out. Yeah, you and your tears, beat feet. I got to bring up another comic. So I bring up Scott Capurro as a flamingly gay American comic.
But he's American. That's the important
in
point.
Edinburgh, Scotland, while this girl leaves in tears from the Tron, which is 3 stories of bars, and she goes up to her fucking football hooligan friends and says, "That American comic was making fun of my dead sister." I'm out smoking. Thank God smoking saved my life. Wow. Because these 2 fucking cinder block head dudes come down and get on either side of me on stage, but it's not me. It's Scott Capurro. Wow. Like, just on, and there's no bouncer.
And he's going, "Who are you?" Like,
he's like, "Who are you?
He thinks it's a setup.
What's going on?"
And Laura Clark.
There's no bouncer. There's
I'm
a one
outside
chick
talking
that's
to
working
him.
the door, and she has to like. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm outside talking to him, and Laura Clark, who's my female, door person, girl Friday.
Yeah, Alex
has to get on stage and like get them off, and but she did very successfully because I think a female can, if she's forceful enough, can do that, and because they're not going to hit her. But yeah, and then she came outside, or the word got outside, and when Doug, we beat feet to the.
Yeah, they fucking hustled me out of there like there was a threat on the president. Some like bar back racing me down to another location to secret me away. Okay. All right, let's take a quick break and make drinks and have a cigarette, and we'll be right back after no messages.
This is Chad Shank, and when I'm at Stanhope's, I drink plastic jug vodka.
'Cause there ain't no other option. Plastic jug vodka. What's your favorite brand? Tweet me at Doug Stanhope or tweet Chad Shank at HD Fatty. That's HD Fatty. Hyman Doberman Fatty with a Y.
Hyman Doberman?
I don't know. Sex! Rulers of the Underpants Universe! Sex! Keep your balls off your legs and such.
Sax underwear. Don't have sweaty balls.
Was that good? I don't know. Hey, and we're back. All right, more shit show. You get attacked on stage. Unfortunately, you don't have it on fucking tape.
No, I couldn't be a Jim Jeffries.
That's exactly.
No, I was doing this gig in a circus tent in Adelaide. It was a late-night show. I was very drunk and very stoned. And then the MC came backstage. He's like, don't talk to the guy front row left. And I went, why not? And he went, because he's crazy. So
worst thing you can do.
Yeah, so I came out on stage, and the first thing I said, I was like, who's this guy? And it was just one guy looked exactly like Martin Bryant, the fucking Tasmanian shooter guy, blonde hair.
For the listener, they had the record here for mass murder in '96.
Yeah.
Martin Bryant was
great source of national pride.
Good-looking kid too.
And I was like, oh, you must be the guy, because there was no one else in the row, because I could sense it's crazy. So my opening line was, they told me not to talk to you. Why is that? And then he went, shut the fuck up, cunt. And then I went, oh, you're in a real bad place. Hey, everyone, let's send some love to this guy.
Okay.
So I got everyone like, hey, let's give some love to this guy. And then he ran on stage, and then I fell backwards just as the bouncers grabbed him and pulled him off stage. And then there was lots of commotion, and I came on stage, and I was like, I can't top that. And then I just died. Horribly. I was like, fuck, I should have just not come back after that guy tried to punch me. So, yeah, that's that story.
That was an old line I used to do. No one ever leaves a fist fight to go watch the band.
Yeah. Anticlimax. I came too early.
Almost every night you have to tell someone, stop filming me. Quite often, people will be thrown out of my shows. I have to throw more people out of shows than probably any comic. And no one films that. Like, people being violently removed. Where's your fucking cell phone now?
You want
You should get Bingo to film that, or Alex, just to track the detritus.
Anytime someone's getting fucking violently ejected from my show, film the entire thing. Follow the bouncers out with your cell phone camera and put it on YouTube. Because I don't want my act out there, but that's not part of my fucking act. So film that.
Maybe you should just hire people to attack you on stage and then film that. Generate some publicity.
If I would love to be able to have that lack of whatever you would call that, common decency, where I could just cheat.
If you want, if you give me and Ben a couple $100,
if I could just fucking, if I
come
could
on
lie,
stage,
we'll do it tonight.
An hour and 20, we'll come on stage, we'll fucking swing some punches. and then we'll just brawl.
I feel bad. Like there's just even minor lies in my set. If I'm telling a story, if it's just a minor, then I want to tell people, and often I do if I'm drunk enough. I go, I didn't actually say it, but I thought about saying it or whatever.
Yeah.
I have to waste time to tell them. Well, it wasn't exactly like that. I made up the part about the guy.
Well, that bit, I don't want to quote myself, but that bit I did last night about hate fucking a guy after a show, because this guy booed me when I said I didn't have any Asian jokes. It was actually originally a woman, but then after I had the punchline was like, I hate fucked this woman with my hands wrapped around her throat, and then I had this one came up to me after a show, said, you made me relive a rape. So I changed it to a guy, and now it gets like rounds of applause. I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's okay to rape a guy, hate fuck a guy. But hate fucking a woman is like a racist woman. Like I was like, well, are you a racist woman? Are you a racist woman who's I've made relive a fucking? I don't know. So I had to change it just because I had, and that wasn't an isolated incident. I had a couple of people just going, you should really change that. That's really horrible. Girls I wanted to sleep with, so I changed it.
I had that story about the couple on the bus that's on the from across the street. I don't think I mentioned it on the album, but in the bit, it was a black couple.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was an
when
Asian woman for
when
me.
I told the story that the next night, I said it's a black couple and everyone's waiting for the black angle.
Yeah. No, it's
I just described them as a black couple. They were an older middle class, upper middle class couple, but they happen to be black. 10 minutes, yeah, all right, fuck it. We got to do this stupid fucking show in Sydney. But Elwood, you got fucking...
What, like 2 minutes to tell the worst gig of my life?
No, you have 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes, okay. There was one, it wasn't the worst gig. It was actually ended up being, it could have potentially been one of the worst gigs, but it ended up being one of the best gigs. But I was doing a Sydney Fringe show, and about 2 minutes before showtime, a large section of the pre-sales aren't there. And it was a small room, so you could notice half a dozen people not being there. And I'm already in a fucking, panic attack, and I'm pacing around.
You panic really hard before a show. Last night was fantastic.
Yeah, what was I doing? Fuck, it's awful, isn't it? I want to fucking commit suicide.
No, I love it. I think it's hilarious.
It's that thing we were talking about earlier, the, relying on your mood getting you across. And that's the part that I fear. I don't fear the audience turning on me or forgetting my lines or anything like that. It's more just the betraying myself and not calling my own reality and then freaking out and having to live in my own skull for the next fucking week.
How do you fucking smoke pot with that head? That's exactly why I can't smoke pot.
That's the thing. I haven't had a day off in so fucking long. I need to do it, huh? I'm going to this 10-day meditation retreat in January. I'm hoping that'll fucking detox me. I'm doing it, yeah.
I've done that.
So anyway, I know, yeah. I got to pick your brain about that in a while because I think I'm going to go insane after 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, because people just leave, but you can't talk, so you wake up and there's an empty bed, and you're like, did they just fucking kill them or something? Or,
yeah.
And they segregate everyone, so on the second day, all you can think about is you're just checking out all these hot, chaste women at this meditation retreat. And then when they finally let you talk again, I just ended up crying. And then as I was crying, this guy came up to me and said, "You're a really bad snorer."
I've been wanting to tell you that for 10 fucking
I'm like,
days.
I don't know. I'm asleep when I'm snoring. I can't tell.
So anyway, this gig, I'm like freaking out, and I walk out of my little shitbox room. As I walk out of the room, I bump into the half a dozen people that are coming in to form the rest of my audience. And the man I bump into is my estranged father that I haven't seen in 27 years. And his new wife. And his 3 children. And their partners. Family reunion. And this is literally 2 minutes before I'm going to go on stage, and I'm already self-destructive enough, like freaking out. And I just, like, all the oxygen gets sucked out of the fucking room. And the guy that was my tech, he was choosing the music that night, and he was playing fucking the most depressing Radiohead shit. So there's this through the room, and this
child arrived just the other day, came into the world in the usual way.
Dude.
Cats in the Cradle, really? I gotta go on stage.
So I ended up fucking like having a complete nervous breakdown and just left the theater. And I'm outside having a complete, like, I can't do this. Had it been probably a year earlier, I probably wouldn't have done it. I would have just psychotically melted down and couldn't do it. And I see my friend down there, and he's like, "You got to do this. You got to do this." And he buys me 2 shots, and I do the 2 shots, and I run up the stairs and I knew if I broke pace, I wouldn't do it.
Yep.
So I just had to run. And I'm like running into the theater. All right, let's fucking do this. And I get up on stage, and I just had to call it. The whole time, I was just like, what kind of family reunion is this? And then my stepbrother's, or my half-brother's mobile phone goes off, and I'm like, oh, wow, you're here to see your big famous fucking brother that's on the TV and radio, and you fuck it up with your mobile phone. And I guess you guys were the guys getting all the BMXs that I never got, and all this, like, kind of calling it. You know, thanks, Dad, you never gave me much in this life, but you gave me your stupid bald head. And they were fucking loving it, because they were the center of attention, and everyone was...
that's the best, is when you can fuck with someone, but you involve their ego, so that it's hilarious to them, but you're absolutely trashing them with all your heart and soul.
And you mean what you're saying. They think it's clothed in, it's humorous, because
and the audience is laughing, so they think, I'm getting laughs. I'm great.
And the whole time, I'm like a fucking nervous wreck. Like, my whole being was like the finger circling a nuclear button. And it was a full hour. And I got through the full hour, and I was like carved out of fucking wood. I felt so fucking transcendent that I didn't self-destruct, because my big thing is self-destruction on stage. And in life. And in life, and everything, on all facets. And anyway, I get off stage, and I see my 2 friends at the back, like, that was fucking full on. And they go, but I think your mum was here. And my mum, who hasn't seen my dad in 27 years, comes into the theater late. What a fucking sweetheart, because she knows if she's there, she'll freak me out. Unlike Dad, who just turns up out of the fucking blue at my fucking Fringe show in a 30-seater. This is fucking insane. So the mum comes in, not wanting to freak me out, at the exact moment that I'm going, hey, Daddy, and making chuckles with them. She thinks, oh my God, he's got a clandestine secret relationship with his father and his family that he's had for decades and kept it from me. So I suddenly get this text message from Mum going, I've always said that you could have a relationship with your father, but if you could just be honest with me, and just like freaking out. She's in the car sobbing, fucking thinking that we've got this intense thing.
That might be the fucking greatest comedy story ever.
Out of fucking control. Out of control.
You could be like the Australian Larry David or something.
And now my mom's here.
Yeah. I
can't believe it.
Well, what? A lot about your persona and your act. I'm just trying to imagine with a Jewish American voice.
It's just like this shit. Oh, man.
Oh,
I was so glad for it,
I have to mention before we get out of here, because we have to do a fucking show for the Rubes. That you were actually on the show where Clark Adams killed himself. For those of you who follow the podcast, you probably know the Clark Adams story. You were on the show that Clark Adams came to and delayed his suicide in Vegas after the Death Valley party. So, we never got to the Death Valley story, but that's fine.
That's okay. Hopefully
everyone jerks off in the desert. Long story short, I jerked off in the desert. Fucking really Andy Andrist went to some ghost town near Death Valley, and he went out with his brother to look at all these old abandoned fucking buildings.
The ghost town.
In the ghost town, and Andy, in the way Andy Andrist does. So, there was this thing, and so I wanked in this place, and then keeps going. Like, wait, you jerked off on a fucking hike with your brother? Well, he wasn't in. He was looking in another room. Like, you just stopped and quickly jerked off in a fucking abandoned house in a ghost town. Like it's nothing. Well, I like to nature jack.
Nature jacks are good, though.
Nature jacks are fucking amazing.
But when you're hiking with your brother in the fucking Death Valley?
I was doing a gig in Perth, and I was like sleeping on my friend's couch. She was a lovely Christian woman with a family, and I was trying to jack off in their bathroom, but they had the multiplication tables up for their kids, and I was like, I can't do this. And I didn't have anywhere to jack off because it'd been 2 weeks.
But you're Asian. You're
crazy.
Good at math.
No, but it was just like 8 times 64 equals I'm a bad person. So I ended up jacking off in the Perth Contemporary Museum of Art. Just in a place of high culture, because I felt like I was rationalizing. I was like, oh, this is just performance art, I'm just fucking. This is contemporary.
I once had an amphetamines wank in a shopping mall.
That
toilet.
takes a while.
Seriously, man, in a shopping mall toilet. I fully intended to go in there for about 20 minutes. I went in at about midday. before I'd even come, what felt like for me a very short amount of time, I hear, ding, 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 the Broadway shopping center will be closing in 5 minutes' time. I had bruises on the underside of my thighs from 6 hours of like fucking tugging on this tiny little fucking pig clip. Jesus, that's the most shameful moment of my life.
Cold pencil eraser, fucking amphetamine penis.
Did you come?
No, I never came. But even when you come on amphetamines, it's like the diameter of the ejaculate is wider than the diameter of the eye. So it hurts when you come. So it's not even enjoyable.
Yeah, it's just closure. It's like the credits rolling on a bad movie.
All right, fucking, we're at about 50 minutes, and that's about a podcast.
Yeah.
I want to smoke a cigarette really bad. So,
I'm gonna piss.
Hey, do you have anything you're sponsored by? On the podcast, you get to just say you're sponsored by anything you enjoy because we don't get money for it. We just like to plug things that are good.
Oh, everyone should watch Wonders of Life or any series made by Brian Cox. That's what I'm into at the moment. Do you guys watch that?
Is that if it's not? No, I have no idea what it is.
Oh, it's just he's an astrophysicist, but it's not that kind of condescending American. The universe is amazing kind of stuff. It's it's actually really good.
All right, is that on Netflix or is it on TV?
I don't think it's on Netflix, but we're living in the age of download. Just download it. Wonders of Life, Wonders of the Universe, Wonders of Humanity. Holy shit.
I got really nothing. Maybe just
do you have dates to plug?
Don't listen to podcasts. Just go out and look at shit.
Are you in Kuala Lumpur or something sometime soon, Nick, son? You want to plug
My next gig is at the World Bar on Sunday. So come down to King's Cross. It's free entry. I'll be doing 10 minutes of new stuff.
This fucking podcast won't even come out for like 3-4 weeks.
That is literally the kind
All
of.
right.
The only
Well,
kind of plugs you can
how
have in
about
Australia.
I'll be in America next year. If anyone wants to marry me, I need a visa.
Yeah,
I'll pretend
Nick's
to
son
love
is
you.
a very he's a fuckable Asian man if that's possible.
Asian.
I think
That's the best thing
rideable's the word.
Raidable.
Rideable, like a bull.
Rideable.
He's a big fucking
ride me
strong
like a bull.
samurai looking half Asian.
Yeah.
But it's weird. You'd never
I'm just a lump of meat up for auction.
Asian men are not like fuckable. They're
No,
What
it's
was
a
your thing you
handicap.
say about porn stars?
name me your favorite black chick in porn. Nobody
Name
watches
me your
black
favorite
chicks in
Asian
porn.
guy in
It's like
porn,
Asian
so-
guys.
Yeah, this is a very good quote. Asian guys like the black women of something.
So you don't have anything you want to sponsor? Something that brings light to your life?
Okay, I got a
even luncheon meat
website.
or something?
You can go there.
Actually,
No,
his blog is fucking amazing.
www.nixon.com.
He actually has a great blog.
It's my blog.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you're sponsored by. Get a fucking Twitter
Yeah,
account.
get a fucking
That's what
Twitter
you're
account.
sponsored
Twitter
by.
account.
Hey,
I've got a Twitter
Australia,
account.
get a
Do I-
Twitter
do I-
account.
Is that what we plug? I
No,
don't even use it.
you found his
the-
Twitter account.
okay.
His easy
Go on
enough.
my Twitter account. I'll start twittering regularly.
Don't you have some stupid fucking Facebook that's
It's
like
a picture of Jesse Eisenberg. Or
Yeah.
not Jesse
You
Eisenberg.
couldn't find his
Mark
Twitter account
Zuckerberg.
because it's titled @Nixon Impersonator.
Yeah. It's because my original one was the real Nixon, because there was tens of thousands of other Nixons who were all successful Asian lawyer types. And then I lost the password to the real Nixon, and I forgot how to get back on there.
That's true. The problem
And
is,
then I've done one tweet, and it's like I'm taking a dump. Because I don't know.
you know you're allowed to do a second.
I know it's just not. It's not an instinct in me.
if you're going to the fucking States,
I
get a
gotta-
goddamn Twitter
There's
account.
a lot of
Yeah.
things I'm supposed to do. All right, but
Twitter
I don't
account's
do
more
them.
important than a visa.
Well, yeah, no,
right, Twitter.
an
Show
American
'em at the
wife.
gates.
You know what? If someone can go to your fucking Facebook and see pictures of your gorgeous fucking samurai warrior self,
You're making me blush, Doug. marry me?
then maybe you could get a fucking American
Gay
wife.
marriage legal in Bisbee?
I'd marry you. I
Really?
just finally get divorced. I was married. I got married to a chick when I was 20 as a goof, and then
Still are.
No, I just got divorced a couple years ago. And so, yeah, I could probably gay marry you, but it wouldn't be recognized by the
Either
federal
way,
government.
Nixon is sponsored by his quest for American citizenship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
please marry Nick's son. Fall in love first, so it's legitimate,
Yeah, fall in love with me.
and then marry
could
him
you
to get
not?
him in the country because he's a fucking brilliant
I have no
comic.
money or
Okay.
reliable future prospects.
All right, that's gonna fucking wrap it up because we have to go entertain a fucking handful of tools in Sydney, Australia. Thank you, goddamn Ben Elwood and Nick's son, and find them if you're in Australia. They'll find you. They fucking need you more than you need them. They'll find you. They'll come to your door.
Lonely.
Actually, funny guys. I don't ever get to watch the openers. You guys, I know, and I did get to watch last night, and that was fucking great. And there was one other guy that I want to mention that was really funny that I actually...
Damien Power, he's fucking amazing.
Damien Power is fucking great. I think he's doing Adelaide.
Cool, man.
Yeah, he had some great shit. And so, yeah, thanks. Hey, Australia, go out and fucking start a comedy club and make these guys a living. And
please, it's all we have.
And
I don't work
we
in a
got to
call
go.
center
So play the Matoid.
Party time. Party time. Party time. Party time. Drink your drinks and eat your eats. It's party time. Laugh your laughs and heat your heats. It's party time. Smile your smiles and blue your blues. It's party time. Dance your dance and shoe your shoes. It's party time. Howl your howls and suck your socks. It's party time. Yeah. Oh baby, grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Everybody, grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. One more. Grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Here we go. Party time. Yeah. Party time. Party time. Yeah. Party time. 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 Hey. Party time. Yeah.